Hello, beautiful earthlings. It is I, Christina, here at Fit and Bendy, and this is a spicy full body warm-up for more advanced practitioners to get your blood pumping. No equipment needed, just your mat. We're going to start standing. I love to start my warm-ups with a lunge, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to step forward with the right foot, back with the left foot. And if you've done any of the mild and medium warm-ups, this will look familiar, but we're just going to do a few things to make it a little extra spicy for us. So rocking your weight back and forth, where they're going to warm up the feet. So I'm pressing my left heel down and lifting it up. And I'm really sinking my right foot down into the floor to feel that weight and to start to feel this leg, which we are going to warm up really well, starting to wake up and remember that it's a leg and it has a job to do. All right, we are going to stop with that weight forward. Body comes to vertical, and here's our spinal movement. So inhale and exhale. Now, there are a couple of things that you can do here to adjust the difficulty level. If you move your feet a little further apart, so you scooch that back foot back, that's going to make this more difficult. If you sink down towards the floor a little further, that's going to make this more difficult. So for those of you beasts who want the extra challenge, there are some things that you can do to start to get these legs working harder and get a little bit deeper into the stretch of the front of that left hip. So let's hang out in our tucked position. I'm really working now on straightening the back leg, pulling forward the front leg, just some little pulses, saying hello to the stretch in the front of that left hip. And I'm really working on trying to find my tuck and bring this right hip back. Good. Now, we're going to hold in this position and find our twist. So I'm twisting to the right and I'm bringing my right hip back to make that right butt have to carry just a little bit more of my body weight. And that's what I want. I want to really feel how my butt works to carry my body weight and deload my spine. So my spine gets to be very rounded in this next section. I'm going to take my left hand to the outside of my right thigh. Here's the spicification. I'm going to lift my right heel up off the floor, sink my body down a little deeper, and now I am rolling my spine down. I'm tilting my pelvis forward, rounding my back, and coming back up, keeping that right heel lifted the entire time. And we're going to do 5 of these. If they feel pretty easy for you, feel free to do more. I find that 5 to 15 is the magic number here, but the balance definitely becomes part of the challenge as well. And again, the deeper you sink it down, the more work that butt has to do to hold your body. All right, I think that was I never count and talk very well at the same time. We're going to stop at the bottom here, find that twist. I'm going to tap my heel down and lift it up. And you'll notice I'm not lifting that heel super high. You can if you like, but it is not necessary to get the workout. You can feel the whole back of this leg working like crazy. Hold the heel up, roll back up, press it down, and come on out. Few chili peppers in that right butt, right? Shake it out, shake it out. Fix your hair. Let's do the left side. All right, left foot forward, right foot back. And now just saying hello to my left leg. And again, I'm pressing my back heel down, lifting it up, waking up those muscles in my feet. I always like to start really feeling my feet on the floor, especially if you wear shoes a lot. It's important to remember that our feet are filled with muscles that are an important part of what holds us up. So doing this barefoot is really going to give you a better experience of the full capacity of your legs and feet. All right, let's stop with that back heel up. I'm going to sink it down, maybe scoot the feet just a little bit further apart. And here goes the spinal movement. So inhale to start and exhale, finding that stretch through the front of the right hip. And one of the things to look out for here is to make sure that your shoulders stay right above your hips. So sometimes when you get into that stretch, there's a tendency to lean one way or the other. We're really trying to keep the body vertical and just do our best to push into that stretch. If you're like me and the hips are one of your more tight areas, you might feel this more as a muscular exercise than as a stretch. So you might really feel this as like abs and butt rather than deep stretch. But the stronger those other muscles get, the deeper you can get into opening up that right hip flexor. Let's stop in our tuck position, straighten that back leg a little bit, little pull forward with the front leg. Just opening up that right hip a little bit more, starting to feel deeper stretch. And let's get into our twist. So both knees bent. I'm going to twist to the left. Hello. And come back to center, pulling that left butt back. For a lot of folks who are right side dominant, this left side maybe not quite as strong. The balance might be a little wobblier. So just notice that for yourself if that's where you're at. We're going to bring that right hand to the outside of the left thigh, lift up that heel, and here we go. Rounding down and back up. I always get some shaking in this exercise no matter how much I do it because I am really working on, every time I do it, challenging the limits of my body. So I'm trying to get deeper into my tucked pelvis, lift my heel up a little higher, sink my back knee down a little closer to the floor, and challenge that leg strength. I believe that was 4. So on the next one, we're going to hold it at the bottom, press that hand in, deeper twist, and lower and lift that calf. Or heel rather, using the calf. Whole back of the leg work. Keep pulling that left hip back for 3, 2, hold it up, roll back up to center, press the heel down. Hot and spicy on the left side. Chilies in both butt cheeks. Such a good warm up. Already breaking a sweat, and I hardly got going. All right, after that, we're going to work on a little hip compression. So really alternating back and forth between compression and extension of the hips. I like to do this with a single leg stand. All of these exercises are trying to do multiple things at the same time. So pressing my left foot down to the floor, bringing my right knee forward. I'm going to float that knee up. Little pulses. Now, I'm checking with those hip bones. What I don't want is to let that right hip bone pop up into the air or let my body lean out to the side, right? Then the balance goes. So I'm really trying to keep my shoulders stacked directly up over my hips. The idea is that I can feel my psoas muscle working. So the muscle that connects from the groin underneath the abs. That's the main muscle we want to use to lift this knee up. These active pulses really work on developing that hip compression. We're going to hold that knee up, big circles with the ankle. Good. And that just gives you something to distract yourself while you're working on also keeping your left leg straight. So that left butt is working like crazy. Let's switch directions on those ankle circles. Lift that knee up a little bit higher. And then we're going to grab the knee and pull it up into our chest with our hands. So standing leg, squeeze that butt and let go of the knee. See if you can hold your balance here. Bringing that knee, I'm really trying to challenge my end range of motion here, building that strength and flexibility together, and shake it out. So the standing leg, if you have knees that don't hyperextend, you can fully extend it and lock it out. For me, I soften mine just a little, so I'm not going to my hyperextension. If you have really hyperextended knees, you might want to soften the knee just a little bit to make sure your knee doesn't hurt. Let's do some little pulses up. So again, I'm trying to find that connection between the groin underneath the abs. That means the psoas is working. If I'm starting to feel it out here or in my quads, then likelihood is that I'm tilting a little bit. So really trying to keep shoulders over hips, completely stacked. It means I really have to work these torso muscles to make it happen. Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, hold it up. Big ankle circles. Good. Check in with that right leg. Keep using that right butt to drive that right thigh back behind you. And switch directions. Good. Keep lifting the top of your head up towards the ceiling too. Trying not to use your shoulders to hold your body up. And then pull that knee in towards your chest. Bring it up as high as you can. Good. And then try to hold it there as you let go. Keeping that deep compression, feeling that work through the hip for 3, 2, 1, and shake it out. All right, well, that was a nice hello to our lower body. Let's wake up our torso and shoulders a little bit. So I'm going to go about twice hip width with my feet, just a little bit of turnout. And both arms are going to come up over the head, reaching my fingertips for the ceiling. So I'm trying to get that upward rotation of the scapula. And we'll go side bend and side bend, just like a pendulum. And what I'm trying to do is every time go just a little bit further. And both sides of my waist are working all the time. So what I don't want is to collapse into the side bend, right? I'm trying to keep the space between my hip bones and my rib cage about the same on both sides. So there's this feeling of lengthening my body long out of the hips. If it feels like too much with your arms overhead, move your arms to your chest, or airplane arms, all of those are good. And we're going to start going a little further. Feeling the way that top oblique muscle controls our descent as we go deeper and deeper. Such an important warm-up if you're interested in back bending. These are really major muscles for your back bend. Let's go over to the right, and we're just going to hang out here. Pull those arms back, reach out further. Nice long stretch along the left side. And back up. Let's hang out on the left side. Feeling those right obliques. Again, pull those arms back. Nice long stretch. And back up to center. Now, arms on, or hands on your hips. Let's find a little bit of back arch. So I'm squeezing my back muscles slightly and flat back forward. Sticking my butt out, reaching the top of my head forward. I'm just looking straight down at the floor, aligning my ponytail correctly. And we're going to do some little pulses up. So warming up our shoulders. And if you're here watching this video, hopefully you've watched some of the easier versions of this where we really break down scapula position and upper back engagement, because we're going to use it here. Now bringing the arms straight out to the side, little pulses up, and feeling the scapula pulling away from the spine. So I don't want to be crunched in here. I'm reaching out wide. Feeling like a California condor flying over the mountains. Feeling those upper back muscles work. Beautiful. And then I'm reaching straight out over my head. Whole back of my body working here to support my body weight, to lift my body up. I'm thinking of slightly lifting my tailbone towards the ceiling as I reach my fingertips out as far as I can towards the camera for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just drop it down. And let's bend one knee and then the other. Shake out the head and neck. Move it side to side. And sit it down on the floor. Time for more hip compression and a little hamstring stretch. Let's get into some hamstrings and hip compression. Go ahead and lay down on your back. Find that little arch in your lower back and extend that right leg out long. Feel like you're trying to reach your toes for the wall over there. And we're going to start by lifting this leg up. I'm trying to keep the arch in my back the entire time, even though it means my leg doesn't go as far, and lower it back down. So remember when we were talking about finding that psoas during our standing hip compression? Same deal here. I'm really trying to lift my leg from right inside in the groin muscle. And to that end, if I keep thinking about extending this butt bone out that direction, it's going to make it less likely for me to grip with the outside muscles of the hip or with my quads. So really trying to find that psoas engagement. That is the muscle that's going to really enable me to lift my leg up until I can lick my shin bone. Good times with shin bone licking. All right, let's do a couple more lift and lowers. And on this next one, I'm going to stop at the top and just do some little pulses here. Still keeping that arch to get the deepest hip compression I can in that right side. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to do the same thing with the foot flex. Little pulses, just giving us a little bit of extra work. Now we're adding the shin muscles into the whole mix and a little extra stretch through the back of the leg for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, this is where it starts to get a little spicier than some of the earlier workouts. We are going to grab the sole of our foot, making a little stirrup with our arms, pulling that knee into the chest. And from here, press your foot into your hands to straighten out your leg. Now, if your leg does not get all the way straight today, no big deal. You're still a wonderful person. You just keep working on it. So just get that leg as straight as you can. Feel the engagement of the knees, the stretching in the back of the leg, and really see how much work you can find, not just through that hip compression, but also through the quads. And digging your fingers into the arch of the foot can also help release some of the nerviness. So as I'm doing this, I kind of like to give myself a little foot massage right there in the arch, feeling for the sore, tingly bits there. All right, one more time. Extend that leg out. And then I'm going to let go. Point my toe just because I like to make it pretty. And slowly lower that leg down. Reaching out as long as you can. Trying to hold onto your back, pressing your back down into the floor until that leg hits the floor. We're going to extend the other leg out as well. Both legs pressing down. I'm going to try to get my back flat on the floor, get my thighs flat on the floor, arms up overhead, holding my hollow body here, which means I'm using tons of abs, tons of butt, tons of upper back extension to try to get my body into as straight a line as possible. Let's come on out. And we're going to do the other side. So I'm going to flip around so you can see what I'm up to with my left leg. Both knees bent. And let's extend that left leg out long. So really reaching it out long. And I'm going to do some nice, happy lifting here. Lifting that leg up, feeling that deep compression, and lowering it back down. And again, I'm just noticing which muscles I'm using to lift my leg. If you very slightly externally rotate that leg, it can help to bias feeling that psoas muscle as well. If I'm internally rotated here, obviously that's going to bias using the outside of the hip. And those muscles just aren't as effective at lifting the leg. Let's do a couple more, checking in to make sure you still have the arch in the back. And you can also check to make sure that you're not starting to lean your body away. So I'm really working on keeping my shoulders in line with my hips, just like when we did our standing series. Let's do one more. We're going to lift that leg up, holding it up, happy little pulses, bringing that leg in towards the face. So yes, my leg could come a lot further if I tucked, but that's not what I'm going for here. I'm going for deep hip compression. This is so good for our psoas, our hip muscles, to really learn how to feel comfortable in the shortened position. It's going to help them be just more relaxed and flexible in general. Let's continue with the foot flexed. Now feeling that additional, maybe slightly nervy stretch up the back of the leg. Working on keeping both hips square for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, bend it in. Let's grab the foot with those little fingers, dig them into the arches, and go ahead and straighten that leg out, bringing it in towards your face and bend it back down. And even though this is a more passive stretch than the one we were just doing, because now I have some help from my hands, all the same muscles are working. So I am not relaxed here at all. I'm still using my psoas. I'm still using my quads. I'm still actively trying to flex my foot by squeezing my shin muscles to help me feel engagement through this full range of motion. Always working, even in the so-called passive stretches. Let's do one more bend and straighten. And we're going to hold this extended position. Boom, hands move away, toe points, and slowly lower that leg down. Reaching it out long, 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 long. Feel like your foot is going to touch down in the next county over. That's how long your leg has gotten. And we're going to extend both legs, and again, find this really nice hollow body position. So I'm pulling my ribs in, pulling my hips in, belly button reaching down for the floor, trying to use my butt to get the backs of my thighs on the floor as I reach overhead. Now, for some people, it might be comfortable, have your legs all the way together. That doesn't work great for me. I separate them slightly. You can feel free to do that too. Reach those fingers out long, toes out the other direction. Hold for 3, 2, 1, and relax. So I'm going to leave my arms overhead for the next one. If that doesn't feel good for you, you can go to any other arm position, but I like one that facilitates relaxation of the upper body. We're trying to not use the upper body to help with this. I'm going to extend both legs up in the air, and we're going to do both legs deep hip compression. Now this time I am letting that pelvis tuck, and I'm using my lower abs and my hips to try to get my legs as close to my face as possible. And I'm not coming all the way up and over here. I'm really trying to confine this movement to my pelvis and the lower part of my abs. So really working on getting into the lowest part of the spine. Now, for those of you who are very experienced backbenders and have very flexible backs, this is a really great warm-up for you to get your spine going forward before it goes backward, and say hello to those pelvic floor muscles, those lower abs, the psoas, all those muscles that help support your pelvis and lower back in any spinal position, including back bends. Let's do the same thing with the feet flexed. Little bit more stretch here with the feet flexed. Just a little bit more activation in the fronts of the legs, thanks to the shin muscles joining the party. Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to do a big circle around with the hips, touching the backs of the legs together, hovering them up off the floor, and bring them back in. At every point, I'm trying to think of getting my feet as close to the floor as possible and engaging the muscles. So as I open my legs out to the side, I'm not just letting gravity take them down to the floor. I'm using my outside butt, my external rotators, to try to bring it a little bit deeper, reaching my toes to the floor. And when I'm out in my hollow body, this is the lowest I can get my feet without my back arching up off the floor. And then when I bring my feet in towards my face, I'm finding again that deep hip compression. Let's lower both legs nice and slow down towards the floor for 3, 2, 1, and one more time. Hold this hollow body position, doing your best to get your spine flat, abs pulled in, butt working, fingertips reaching, palms towards the ceiling, pressed into the floor, the back of the hands, and relax. All right, bend both knees. Last little hip compression exercise. So we're going to combine hip compression on one side with extension on the other side. Oh, it's going to be so exciting. So I am going to pick up that left knee and bring it in towards my face. So very similar to this position, only this time I'm going to press my right foot down into the floor, pull it in towards my butt, and tuck my pelvis under. So I'm coming up into a shoulder bridge. I'm going to put my arms in a position where they're not really able to help. Little pulses, bringing that left foot in towards my face. And I'm not trying to get super high here. I'm trying to get a tuck. I'm trying to get the most length possible through my lower back, lifting my tailbone up towards the ceiling. So I'm using a lot of that right butt, a lot of the lower abs, and a lot of compression on this left hip for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll it back down, and let's switch sides. I love this as a warm-up for any kind of standing splits. Really great one. All right, little pulses in. And let's tuck the pelvis under and lift up. So now that left foot is pressing down into the floor. I'm imagining that my left foot and my left butt are pulling in towards each other to help facilitate the work in that left butt. It's really working hard. And I'm trying to keep my hips even though this leg is coming deeply in towards my face. Feeling that psoas engagement for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower back down, lower the leg. All right, come on up to sitting. Let's get into some back extension. Let's get into some delicious opening of the upper back and spine. So come to hands and knees. This exercise is going to look a lot like the traditional cat-cow, except, again, we're not involving the head and neck. So as I inhale, I'm thinking of bringing my chest towards my chin, sticking out my butt, squeezing those back muscles, and then as I exhale, I'm bringing the chest away from the chin. The chin does not move, pushing the floor away from me with hands and knees. So the thing I like about the spinal movement in this position, we've done it in so many, is that with all four limbs anchored on the floor, your spine can really experiment with where it feels tightest, where it feels gooeyest, which muscles need a little bit more love and engagement. So being able to feel that upper back work here, bringing that chest forward of the shoulders, and then being able to feel those lower abs. Those are usually the two areas that are a little hard to feel. So feeling those lower abs working to tuck the tailbone under, bring the pubic bone forward. Let's do one more each direction. Inhale. Hello, spinal extension. And exhale. Deep tuck, space in between every vertebrae, upper, mid, and lower back. And then we're going to go into some activation for our upper back. So I like to walk my hands in a little closer to my knees and a little further away from each other and really spread those fingers out for this one. From here, I'm finding the extension position where I'm bringing my chest in front of my shoulders. And this time I am going to bring up my head. So I'm looking right out in front of me. And the idea is a little bit like the baby turtle trying to eat a strawberry. So there's this feeling of reaching forward. My shoulders are going back towards my hips, but my chest and chin are trying to reach towards the wall in front of me. And I'm pushing the floor away to really activate my upper back. You want to feel those muscles underneath and around your scapula. From here, I'm going to start to bend my elbows, keeping those elbows tucked into my side, trying to lower to touch my chest to the floor. If it doesn't touch the floor today, no big deal. And straighten back up. I call these upper back push-ups because you should be feeling your upper back work the entire time. If you start to collapse into this position, dropping your head down towards the floor, if your chin touches the floor before your chest, then just don't go down as far. Try to keep your body in a position where you can continue to engage that upper back. The hope is that as you repeat this more and those muscles wake up, you can get more and more into that upper back arch. On this next one, we're going to come down to the bottom and just hover. And I'm thinking about reaching my chin forward, my chest forward, squeezing my arms into my ribs, and then push back up. Hello, upper back. Shake out those arms. Now we're going to use those upper back engaged muscles to try to get a little bit deeper into our back bend. So back to hands and knees. And again, I'm finding that forward extension of the chest, trying to eat that elusive strawberry. And I'm going to try to keep that forward reach of the chest as I sink my hips back onto my heels. And my hands may slide in a little bit, kind of depends on your body proportion, but I'm still pressing my palms down into the floor to lift my back up. And here's where we start to get into our neck extension. So I'm going to lift my head up, reaching my chin towards the ceiling and drop it back down. It's very important that when you start to get the neck involved, you have the upper back in the right position so that you can bring your head back without feeling any crunch in the back of the neck. You want to feel the length through the throat and the engagement in the upper back, but no neck crunching. Necks don't care for crunching. We're going to lift that head up one more time. Keep that chest lifted, and now slide the hands in. Again, the hands are on the thighs. Press your hands down into your thighs to lift your chest to the ceiling. And then drop the chest back down. Head will come back to neutral on its own. You don't have to do a lot of lifting with your neck. Let's do that one more time. So press those hands down. Chest is going to come to the chin first. So we're coming into our traditional spinal movement inhale position. Then the head drops back And the chest just continues to lift, lift, lift. So I'm not so much thinking of a back bend as a chest lift. And then exhale, I'm coming into my other spinal position. And that pulls my head back up. One more time. Chest lifts towards the chin. My head hasn't moved yet. Coming into my arch position. Then the head moves. Then I can see if I can get my chest to lift some more with those glorious upper back muscles. You should be able to breathe in this position. Notice I'm talking. I can have a whole conversation here. Your lungs are free. And then exhale. Drop the chest down and bring the head back up to neutral. All right. Your spine is warmed up and ready to take on the world. We're going to give it a little bit of a forward bend coming back up. So curl those toes under, get your feet underneath you, walk your hands in, soft knees, and we're just going to move it around side to side a little bit, keeping the knees soft, tuck the pelvis under, use your abdominal muscles to roll up, stacking the spine. Flip your hair back into position. And it's time to go get that world. Thank you so much for watching. We have oodles of videos on flexibility, nerding out on anatomy and stuff that you can connect to below. Please like and subscribe. Leave any comments and questions that you might have. And as always, my beautiful humanoids, happy bendings.